Pharmacy C's Network's Sunday night All Things Natural Net is going to start in about a minute. Just making sure the stream is up and running like it's supposed to be. Looks like it is. So that's good. Just make sure the notification went out here. Alright, I guess we're good to go. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is the Pharmacy C's Network live stream, and we do this by amateur radio. It's actually an amateur radio net, and hey, Bomber. And then we stream it here over YouTube. I apologize if I don't get to questions right away in the chat, but I will come back and field those questions later on. But running a net takes quite a bit of attention, so I get a little distracted with that, and that tends to be the priority until I'm done with the net. Anyway, I see we got some people coming in. Bomber and Geeky Gardens, Michelle Simmers. How you guys doing tonight? Glad you're here. I'm going to go ahead and fire this net off after I clear my smoke in my throat. This is KD2IIN, net control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. The Sunday night All Things Natural Net is a net dedicated to farming and gardening primarily, but with a much broader scope. Anyone who wants to join the discussion, we cover a wide range of topics. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get this net started. This is KD2IIN, net control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Looking for check-ins? Any check-ins, please call now. Okay, I got KD2 RYD, and there was another station there I didn't catch the call. Yeah, Bomber's wrenched up. Rock on. Okay, anyway, KD2 RYD is recognized, and we'll just do another shout here for check-ins. Any further check-ins, please call now.
KC2 JQA Steve.
KD2 RFI.
KD2 RFI Bob. Here is KQBHM.
KQBHM. Jim?
W2NDG.
W2.
Good evening, CJ.
G.
This is KD2MQE.
KD2MQE. David. Good number of check-ins here so far.
Here is
KD2KJU.
KD2KJU.
Jen. Alright, so far we have KD2RYD, KC2JQA, KD2RFI, K2BHM, W2NDG, KD2MQE, and KD2KJU. Are there any further check-ins at this time? Alright, very good. Well, we'll go ahead and get started in the first rotation. Kate, KD2RYD, you're at the top of the list. How are you tonight? And how are you faring the COVID situation as well as the weather?
Hi, faring not too bad. Not sure how I'll say this the first time round. Watching my little greens grow with my hydroponics, which is quite exciting. Seeing the lettuce leaves appear and thinking about what else to plant next. So that's been a really fun experiment, and just considering if I should broaden it out a bit, get another lamb, or maybe do some hydroponics in some buckets outside, take advantage of that source of energy we have in the sky. Yeah, and the weather's a bit damp, but that's what makes everything beautiful and green. So that's all for me for now. Back to you.
Okay, very good. And it sounds like you're surviving and rolling forward. And remind me when we come back around to talk about buckets. You don't have to do hydroponics in buckets, and you can do some pretty good portable gardening in buckets. So we'll come back to that, and I think you'd be better with soil, and I'll explain why we come back. I want to go ahead and carry on with the greetings here, though. KC2JQA, Steve, you're up.
Good evening, CJ and everyone. This is KC2JQA, Steve in Rhinebeck. Doing well here. We're coming off of a pretty quiet weekend, enjoying the great weather yesterday, not so great weather today. Just out from a long walk with the dog this evening and cold, nasty rain, which got me thinking about rainwater collection, and that's not something I've done previously, but I'm wondering if folks have any experience and thoughts about having barrels collecting rainwater and using that, gray water, I guess you'd call it, for garden use or other purposes. KC2JQA, back to you next.
Fantastic. Well, glad you're doing well. And rainwater collection, yes, we will definitely come back to that topic as well. I have some information on that for you, and I even have a video that I think I have on my channel. It's unlisted, but I could share it with you, and it's really excellent information about rainwater collection and a lot of the eccentricities and details that go with that. So I've written that down, and remind me when we come back to you, and we'll open that discussion as well. We're going to roll down the list here to KD2RFI. Bob, this is KD2I and Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net.
KD2RFI, Bob up in Catskill. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, bees and bikinis.
I don't know, CJ.
Oh, by
you
radio.
pretty much know which direction
Sorry.
I'm going. This pretty much takes up most part of my life is the honeybees. I got into the hives yesterday. I wasn't quite sure what was going on. I opened up, and it looks like they've been robbed out. First glance, I thought they'd be a mouse nest, but when I got looking at it, it was looks like they've been robbed out, and there's still a colony in there. They were small, and I found the queen, and she looks like doing good. Seems like she's laying a decent brood pattern, so I just kind of let her go and see what happens. So put some reducers on that colony and see how they're going. But several hives I looked into, I saw some queen cells being built up, and one of them I confirmed there was definitely an egg in. So they're definitely getting ready to swarm in a couple of weeks. I thought they'd be swarming sooner, judging by the amount of activity, which I saw in your video as well. They're definitely getting ready to go, though. So we're going to keep an eye on them, and maybe next nice day go back in a week or so. If there's any cap queen cells, I'll start doing some splits. So in the meantime, though, we'll just keep an eye on them, and if they jump before I think they're going to go, or before I anticipate them going, then we'll take care of them. Other than that,
Catch them in the air.
all the buzz around here about the bees. Things, the firewood and chainsaw, I'll get that up and running soon as the weather clears and I actually get time. We got one more week of vacation, which is not a whole lot of vacation because I'm hanging around the house, getting a lot of stuff done around the house. But it's just nice not going to work and not having to shave every day. So it's going to be mighty upsetting when I have to finally shave and start doing that on a daily basis going back to work. KD2 RFI, back in control.
All right, very good. And I hear you on the shaving. Yeah, it's a lot of extra time it takes every day to stay up on it. Sounds like your bees are doing really well. That's fantastic. And I want to come back to that queen cell thing a little bit and kind of hash that out a little bit more. So I'm going to put that down here on the topic thing. And we'll come back to you here. I'm going to carry on with the greetings here. This is KD2 and Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural app. Bob, thanks for that excellent update on things in your neck of the woods. For the people who don't know, Bob has like 16 or 17 beehives, so he's got quite a nice apiary there. Let's roll on down to Jim, K2BHM. Thanks, Bomber.
Thanks, CJ. K2BHM, Jim here, Saugerties. Mine is off topic, but I'll just throw it out as a general info. My day today was completing a project that I should have been doing for 10 years. Got an adapter over the internet and went out and picked up a half-inch electric drill at Harbor Freight that was on clearance, and I now have a power drive to drive the table up and down, what they call the knee drive, on my Bridgeport machine, so I can save my neck, arm, and shoulders cranking that table, which is quite a considerable feat. So, long coming, but boy, what a major improvement. Anyhow, not your topic, but thought I'd throw it out. K2BHM.
Very good, Jim. Glad you got that tweaked up. I've heard a lot of good things about the Bridgeport. For people who don't know, that's a milling machine basically, but you can do all sorts of machine work with it, precision. So glad you got that working, and glad you joined the net. And hey, we don't mind extra topics on the net. All right, let's roll on down to Neil, W2NDG. This is KD2 Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. And after Neil, we'll do another opportunity for check-ins, and then we'll finish greeting down the list, and then we'll go back and start jumping into topics. So Neil, you're up.
Well, not too much to report in this department here. Really about all we deal with right now at home is
yes, Bomber, I think so.
a form of house plant, I would guess. Jill propagates African violets. That's mostly what she deals with, and we have quite a number of them in various stages, mostly minis, but some full-size ones. And her little ones here are doing very well. So we have some grow lights on them and try to take care of them best as we can. I have been out walking, as some of you know, this last week. Did a little walking in the woods, and I haven't seen too much in the way of interesting wild things growing yet, except the onion grass that we talked about a couple weeks ago. But maybe this week, when the woods dry up a little bit, I'll get out again and see what I can find. Certainly the right time of year to start seeing some of the things that I used to look for. It'd be nice to have something to talk about in that department. Probably get my sprouts going again in my microgreens. It's something I haven't started in a while, but I'm starting to crave salad again, so it might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Instead of eating the stuff I've been eating. That's about it. W2NDG, back to that.
All right, very good, Neil. Sounds like good progress, and yeah, I'm looking forward to some greens again too, especially some fresh spring stuff and some wild forage stuff. I haven't done a specific look either, but I do notice things are starting to blow up and green up here, so I would think we'd be into that early spring phase, and some of those are some of the most nutritious greens. I got to do a walk around for ramps soon. All right, Neil, well, thank you for that. And we're going to roll down the list to KD2MQE in a minute here, but first we're just going to stop and see if there's any further check-ins. This is KD2 Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. If there are any further check-ins, please call now. All right, no check-ins recognized at this time. We're going to roll on down to David, KD2MQE.
MQE, David Newbold. Hey, good to hear you all. A couple of things I've been thinking about. One, first, more of a question to CJ. I'm just, all the downstream impact of this situation. It's hard to try to take it all in, and I'm just.
Hey, honey,
I was thinking about your customers, and I remember
thanks for coming by.
You're often supplying the local restaurant industry, and where are they going to be?
Some.
Harvest season, and how are you able to even plan around that? So that's the first question, and the second one can wait till next time around. It has to do with potassium nitrate. That's it. Back to you.
All right, very good. As far as restaurants, there's really only one that I really serve here. They're very small and local, and they work pretty well with me. And I, from my understanding, they will continue to work with me. And actually, that was the only place I was able to find toilet paper in our town. So anyway, yeah, I don't think it's going to affect me in a negative way. If anything, it might affect me in a positive way, just given how supply chain is a little weird right now. Although I think that's starting to straighten out now, and I figure by the time any real harvest season comes along, I expect it will be kind of straightened out. But we'll see, because I know a lot of people are planting and doing their own stuff, and so I kind of wonder if there's going to be an excess rather than a shortage, just because of the number of people that are doing stuff. I know when I was at Agway last week or the week before to get chicken feed, they get chicks in, and it takes a couple of weeks for them to sell out. And they sold 250 chicks out in 3 hours. So there's definitely a new spawn of people interested. Anyway, let me roll down to Jed here, KD2KJU, and welcome him, and then we'll work our way back through some of these other topics. Jed, KD2KJU, pick it up. Hey, Bell Pepper. What's going on? Hey, thanks for coming over, Honeystead. KD2, KJU, Jed, if you're still out there, pick it up. Yeah, I haven't checked that one out yet, Honeystead, but it's on my list. All right, nothing heard from Jen. Dave, let's just go back to your potassium nitrate question quick. What were you curious about on that?
KQE. So we were going to drill out a stump and try to, break it down a little bit with that, potassium nitrate to, get the fungus growing and break it down, hatchet it out, and maybe grow some stuff in there this year and try to chop it up more next year. And so I'm looking it up and, trying to figure out, what people use it for, and I had no idea that people use it for everything for thousands of years. But the thing that was the most interesting, and it sort of circles back to, what's natural and Kate talking about stuff like that. Let me just drop for a sec. Is they're using salt like that to store energy. Molten potassium nitrate is being used to store the heat that's collected in these solar thermal power plants. And I was looking at a couple in Spain that are really quite impressive, and they take up a lot of space, but they seem to be generating a lot of energy. And so is that a natural thing, or is that a really complicated piece of technology? And where do you draw the line? So just back to the philosophy part of what you do on Sundays. Okay, that was my question. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, that's funny. Very few people seem to have come across the molten salts concept. But yeah, that energy storage is a lot like water, except that with molten salts you get a phase change, and there's a huge energy shift in that phase change, kind of like when water goes from liquid to freezing, or when it goes from liquid to boiling. It takes tremendous energy to make that jump from one phase to the next. And so that's kind of the concept that they're taking advantage of with the molten salts. I've looked into that before, but the cost of the salts is so expensive, and the ram pump here delivers water endlessly free. So it's easier and cheaper to just buy tanks and just scale that up than it is for salts for my application. But if you're generating steam, then you need to have certain temperatures, and those are higher temperatures, and molten salts are much more appropriate for that. And I'll bet you anything, when we come back down the list to K2BHM, you can wado you on that even more, or you can wado him even more on that, because I'm sure he's got some knowledge in this area as well, just knowing Jim and his engineering background. But excellent stuff to discuss, David, and thanks for bringing it up. I'm going to do an opportunity for check-ins here now. This is KD2IIN Net Control for this Sunday night All Things Natural Net. We're looking for any further check-ins. Please call now. Blur's Day. Alright, no further check-ins recognized at this time. We're going to roll back to the top of the list here to Kate, KD2RYD.
Hi CJ, you were going to say something about the hydroponics and about growing things in soil. Maybe you could say that, and then I could see if I have anything to reflect on those thoughts.
Okay. I mean, hydroponics definitely has its advantages and drawbacks, but the one thing that you don't have in hydroponics that you do have in really good soil is the biology present, and that biology produces microbial metabolites that plants can take up much more efficiently, and it really accelerates the whole photosynthetic process and consequently the health of the plants. And it also makes tremendously more trace mineral nutrition available to the plants. And so to sort of understand it, basically plants, when they collect sunlight, some of that energy they send out in the form of exudates, and they feed those soil microbial communities. And then those soil microbial communities go out and they basically extract minerals, and they put them in the way they interact with it, they end up in the properly chelated form for the plants to take up. So the plants are feeding the microbes, and the microbes are feeding the plants in sort of a symbiotic cycle. So I'll put it back to you.
Wow, that's a lot of knowledge. Wow, yeah, and I'm just beginning on exploring this, and I know that the hydroponics seems to be great for the idea of doing some things indoors and having a year-round supply of things that don't easily store. So the greens, the salads, the herbs, and those things. I quite like the idea of having a perpetual supply of that indoors. But I think the root things I think about. I just thinking about my food security and just exploring it as as an interest. And the other side is the root vegetables, so the potatoes, the carrots. I don't know whether onions fall on that, but I think of them in the same way as they're a main staple of what we eat, but they're things that I think can be stored properly for something like 5 months. So they seem to lend themselves more to a more natural grow season and harvest and storage. And then the other things I think of are things that can be canned, so tomato crops. Growing those in a more natural way and then harvesting them. But then there is also the temptation of doing it hydroponically and doing a small amount and creating a perpetual supply. I'm just kind of interested in exploring all these things, but certainly the greens make sense. And so far it's worked really well. I'm very happy. Almost every seed has turned into something that looks awesome. Back to you.
Yes, KD2 and Net Control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. I have to agree. The hydroponics definitely has the ability to maintain a certain amount of control and to help eliminate pests and that sort of thing, especially in an indoor environment. So I definitely see the advantages on that. The downside, however, on a sustainability perspective is typically hydroponics takes some energy power to run it, and so I tend to go the other way. And it also, again, is lacking some of that soil microbial community. Now, with root crops, you could do buckets also and rotate through the buckets, and you can actually recycle your soil. And if you're using the right trace mineral nutrition and biology, you can actually really accelerate that whole process. There's so much more to say about this, but I have played around with hydroponics, also actually aeroponics as well. And if you go back on my old videos, I have a video showing my old aeroponic system that I had, so you might find that interesting as well. I don't want to hang on this too long, but we'll come back to this. You can think about what we've talked about. If you have other questions, I'll definitely be glad to address them. But I want to roll along the list here for the moment. KC2, JQA, Steve, pick it up. And you were asking about rainwater collection, right?
Yes, this is KC2JQA Steve. Yeah, rainwater collection is something of interest. I know it's kind of a best practice in some ways to be able to reclaim that water which is falling on the roof and rather than trying to, direct all of it away into a cistern or some kind of a runoff system. Being able to capture some of that, especially if you're going to be using water for some kind of an irrigation purpose. Certainly for landscaping plants, I'm sure it's fine. I don't know whether the water after it's been on the roof is acceptable for food crops or not. And again, just like to hear some firsthand experiences with doing it, and the video you referenced, CJ, would be something interesting to view as well. KC2JQA, back to net.
All right, very good, Steve. KD2I, net control here. So yes, let me think. There's a YouTube channel, Engineer775, and he does a couple of different videos on rainwater collection, and he talks about how he filters out the first flush of rainwater to keep like dust and pollen out, and how he stores it. And he's actually an engineer, so I would say definitely check out his channel and look at his videos. Those are very good. Also, there's another YouTube channel, the Green Dream Project. These guys are out in Arizona, and they're also doing water collection. That is their only source of water, and they've got a bunch of videos out on what they're doing with that. Those are excellent resources, and those guys are really nice people also. So I would check their channel out as well. I can share links with you. I believe I have your email, so I can share links with you on that. And then there's another video which is actually part of a 72-hour permaculture course, and this particular video I think is about an hour and a half long. I have it on my channel unlisted just for this occasion so I can share it with people. And they go into great detail as far as rainwater collection and how to keep it drinkable, and all the eccentricities of acid rain and heavy metals and all that sort of stuff. So I'll put it back to you for comments, thoughts, questions. KD2I.
I will definitely check out some of those videos. Sounds very interesting, and it's something which I want to try and implement. And anything you want to email me, you can just send to kc2jqa@arrl.net, and that should forward along to me. I know it takes a while for the ARRL forwarding sometimes, but that will get through. Thanks so much.
All right, very good. I will definitely share some stuff with you. Yeah, fantastic. Most of my experience here is pumping spring water from a spring that I have with a ram pump system. But I have looked into rainwater collection, and there are some excellent resources. I definitely will share them with you. So now, let me just pause for a second here and see if there's any further check-ins. This is KD2 and Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. If there are any further check-ins, please call now. Alright, very good. Nobody's feeling left out. Let's roll on down the list to KD2 RFI. Bob, pick it up.
Hey, KD2 RFI. Yeah, I don't know. I went through my hives. They're all looking pretty good. I thought about making some splits, but I don't think anybody was quite ready for a split yet. As the queen cells were so young, I should say. It just looked like freshly laid eggs in there. But all the ones I looked at, and I didn't look at them all, they did have a brood going, and they were building their colonies. So
excellent swarm captures, homestead.
So everything's looking good. It's looking like another good year. I do want to build up my colonies again, get up around 20 to 24. I see how much equipment I have. And I just like to fill all the boxes and go from there. I am going to be putting out some swarm boxes in various locations and see if I bring some more genetics into the colony and see what happens. I know there's some areas with wild colonies, and if I can pick up some of them, that would be outstanding. So I always like adding the wild bees genetics into my bees because they're designated survivors. So we'll see how it goes. You talked about doing splits and building more colonies and everything else. I don't know if I mentioned it to you before, but check out, I think he's got a YouTube channel with some videos, Anarchy Apiaries.
Oh, yeah.
the other side of the pond there, and he does treatment-free beekeeping, and he does a heck of a job. He'll start it off a few bees with a queen and like something not much bigger than a matchbox, and raise a full colony out of it. And he's all on top bar hives and making hives from what he has laying around. He doesn't spend a whole lot of money on it, and his queens that he sells are renowned.
Awesome.
Very popular.
Awesome.
He sells out almost instantly every year. So I don't know. You got any questions as far as what you're doing, what I'm doing, or whatever? Just throw them my way, and I'll answer them best I can. KD2 RF5 back to that.
KC2 UVP checking in.
All right, KC2 UVP is recognized. Bob, I did have some questions, but I can't think of them off the top of my head at the moment. But I would love to hear what your assessment of my recent video. I too, like when I opened that hive up, found that it wasn't quite ready to be able to do a split without like slowing things down or risking hurting the colony, so I held off. But I did notice there is a huge number of bees in that colony, and they're rocking. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on my colony and just some of your insight on it, if you would share. KD2, and back to you, KD2 RFI.
Well, first of all, the large number of bees is excellent. That's good. I mean, honestly, even wild colonies, most colonies are no bigger than the size of one of the boxes we use for beekeeping. The colonies are generally pretty small. So you have that many bees in that big of an area, that's a good thing. That's a lot of work getting done, a lot of resources being brought in.
Yeah.
And during the colder nights, seems like we're going through a little extended early spring at the moment.
That's right,
with the
Mama.
cold nights, it's good for keeping warmth in the hive and keeping warmth on the brood, more importantly, so they survive and reproduce strong. I saw in one part you did pull out some frames, or you noticed some frames from looking up from the bottom that were not completely filled out, and there was a lot of, it looked like the comb wasn't drawn out on the frames.
Yep.
So that means they got a lot more room. If there aren't bees hanging all over the comb, they're definitely probably still got room to grow. So I think it was a good choice on not making another split. Definitely be careful how many splits you make out of a hive.
Yeah.
I only like splitting them once, maybe twice, or during the course of a year, just not to weaken them too much. Otherwise, they may not have the numbers to build back up again. So just keep an eye on that. And it's all, there's nothing steadfast about you do it this way, you do it that way. I've said this before, you ask 20 beekeepers, you'll get 22 different ideas. So I'm just trying to convey the way I do things.
So true.
It doesn't make it right, and I kind of hope it doesn't make it wrong, but it's the way I do things. So just keep an eye on that type of stuff. As long as they have room to grow, they should be good. If they're growing too fast and can't build up the comb quick enough, that's when they're going to start swarming out. And judging by the swarm cells that you found, I think is a good sign that they will be swarming before too long. Definitely with the number of bees in there. I thought the hive looked great. Did you by any chance get into that other hive at all? I think you put in the notes that you did not get in the one you had split off to see how they're looking, to get a visual look on them.
No, I didn't. I kind of got distracted because I was thinking about doing another split off the big hive, and then I got looking into it, and I was like, nah, it's not quite ready yet. And that drawn comb that wasn't really populated with much yet was from the split that I did with that blue hive. So I just basically replaced those in there to leave them some room. I was hoping that those would start to have some brood and eggs in them, and then I could make another split. And I'm sort of on the side of like, if I'm going to make more splits as we go later into the season here. I spoke with my friend Matt a little bit about it, and he said up to June you could do it. My thought would be like to do a smaller split and just not count on getting honey from that colony, but be able to let it build up for the following season. I also have like 4 or 5 nuke boxes here, so I could play with those and you know, I've got a few other of those like oddball top bar highs I can play with too. So yeah. Well, it sounds like you know, so far I'm doing okay from your perspective, so that's good. And yeah, you certainly could get 22 different answers from 22 different beekeepers. You might even get 40 different answers. Anyway, I'll put it back to you for comment. This is KD2 and Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net.
Oh yeah, definitely. You get as many answers as you have beekeepers, and then a couple extras once they change their mind halfway through giving you one answer. But I mean, even if you want to play around and take a frame out and make a small colony, like one of the nucleus boxes, and just leave it small. Those nucleus boxes are great for, you know, once they grow strong, you can take resources out of them and put in other hives and to help increase them, such as the brood, maybe honey. Maybe you just want to draw out new frames that you would assemble or put together or have the wax thrown out on them. That's great for that idea. Too. Like I said, and you've already covered it, you got to be careful on the time frame and not to do it too late in the season, because then you're actually taking resources away from them when you keep bouncing around like that. Yeah. But you could take a frame of brood with some queen cells on it and some of the bees from the colony, which will stay right on the frame, and drop them in a small box, make a small colony, see if you can overwinter it. And maybe throw a little extra insulation on it or whatnot. But it's incredible how the bees adapt. And if you're doing something wrong, you just by watching and seeing what you're doing, you'll know when something's happening. If you have a colony that's really weak going into the winter, you can even remove the queen and combine what's left of the colony with another hive to add the resources back to an existing hive as well. So there's a bunch of different ways you can handle it. So no, I think you're doing good. Everything looks good. Your bees are on the up and up, and it's you know, this is one of those things. It's trial by fire. You're gonna jump in. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna do things right. You're gonna listen to advice other people give you, and you know, you're gonna do what works for you. And the important thing is watch the bees.
Thanks, Palmer.
They'll tell you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. So, all right. Hopefully that helps. KD2 RFI. That's Net Control.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Bob. Yeah, your insight is really helpful, and that gives me some great ideas. And yeah, that's one of the things I'm really enjoying about the bees, the flexibility of it. In my head, I sort of equate it to like Linux computers with redundant drives. You know, you can kind of hot swap bee frames and brood and pollen and honey all around in a similar fashion. It's kind of cool. It's like nature's hot swappable colony. Anyway, again, thanks for the awesome insight. I'm going to carry on down the list here to Jim K2BHM in a minute. I just want to provide one more opportunity for check-ins. If there are any further check-ins, this is KD2 and Net Control. Go ahead and throw your call sign. Okie doke. Jim, pick it up. K2BHM. This is KD2 IN for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net.
Well, I don't know who you're talking about because he left me not here anymore. And don't believe a word I say, but the topic was potassium nitrate, which is a very strong oxidizer. That with a solution of water in a saturated solution or a supersaturated solution will make a very nice fuse for cannons or whatever. And potassium permanganate is a much better oxidizer.
Yes,
potassium nitrate is commonly known as fertilizer. Mix that with an appropriate amount of diesel fuel and put it in a Ryder truck and take it out to Oklahoma City.
No.
Quite a blast. But basically what you're looking at is you go and drill some holes in the stump and put the solution down there and let it soak in and saturate and sit for a while and cook, and you can set the stump on fire and it will burn underground and take the stump out.
Yep.
At least that's what I've heard. The ghost is going back into oblivion.
KD2 and controls the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. Thanks, Jim. And yeah, saltpeter potassium nitrate has lots of potential in many different areas. Anyway, thanks for your thoughts and insight on it. And, I guess we'll roll on down to Neil, W2 and DG. Yeah, I totally agree, Honeystead. I'm learning so much just interacting with them. They're great. So much fun. Neil, did I catch you baking a loaf of bread again? W2 NDG, KD2
Sorry about that, CJ. I am deep into rebuilding a electronic car key fob here. I got concentrating a little too deep, I think. I'm just going to listen to the discussion tonight. I don't have a whole lot to offer on the topics. If I find something interesting growing in the woods, I'll talk about it next time. Back to that.
All right, sounds good, Neil. Sorry to break you out of your focus on that. Hope your rebuild goes well. Let's see, we'll roll on down to KD2 MQE, David.
KD2 MQE, thanks, Jim. I don't know. I mean, I'm not even sure where to go. It's like it's a fertilizer, and so we were drilling it into the stump to grow like fungus to break the stump down better. But you know, it's also Chinese
Okay, Honeystead,
fireworks.
thanks for coming in.
Where, you know, it's both things. It's so cool. Anyway, I'm like completely confused now, but I appreciate like the help in getting to that point. Back to CJ.
Oh, we're very glad to add you to the confuser. Yeah, I wonder if that potassium salt that you're thinking of is a different one, and maybe it's not potassium nitrate, it might be something else. But yeah, very effective oxidizer for sure, and as Jim mentioned before, potassium permanganate is even more so. In fact, that's one of the survival techniques, is carrying potassium permanganate and glycerin with you, and you put a little drop of each of those together on your fire starter material, and it lights off, basically spontaneously combusts to start your fire up. So just a little tip along the way. Let's roll on down to, let's see if Jed came back here. KD2, KJU, are you around? All right, Jed is still MIA. All right, let's roll on down to Mike, KC2, UVP.
I heard my name being called, and I was outside with the dog.
Okay.
So far I have not planted anything outside. I do have a T5 light going right now that's growing some. I only could get two of my favorite tomatoes to grow, which are Sun Gold cherry tomatoes. Those are my absolute favorite. I might fight somebody over them. They are they're delicious. Also some jalapenos, peppers. I basically got started what I like the most. I want them early, and I started them early. I'm hoping everything goes well. But yeah, I do have to definitely work some nutrients into the ground. But besides that, everything's looking real good for planting this year. Back to you, CJ. And also, thanks for running in that KD2 KJU.
All right, very good, Jed. And yeah, the Sun Gold tomatoes are pretty good. That's not one that I've grown. I usually grow a large cherry tomato that's really nice flavor as well. But the Sun Golds are super sweet. And yeah, glad you're getting ready for another growing season. And yeah, you're welcome for the net. And I'm glad you came along to participate. As you know, it's all about the participants. All right, let's roll on down to KC2 UVP. Mike, you're up.
Thank you, everybody. And I'm not the alpha male out here. I'm the second eldest son. I'm the female, and I'm totally interested in everything everybody's saying, and I'll chime in when I
Green
can.
Project. I was talking about you before.
Thanks, camaraderie.
How you guys doing?
Thank you. Back to net.
right, Mike. Well, glad you came along, and you're very welcome, and glad you're here to participate. Let's roll back up to the top of the list to KD2RYD. Kate.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for all that other information earlier on. It's all a bit of a work in progress for me. And yeah, I definitely want to explore something in some buckets once I figure out where to get some buckets. But I'm also further challenged in that I'm renting this home, and in theory I'm supposed to be leaving really soon, but I don't, because the lady I'm renting it from wanted to sell it, but I don't think that's going to happen, so definitely going to be here for a good few more months. But it just complicates the idea of getting lots of things growing. So as much as I want to put in a really nice garden and enjoy doing that, I'm a little bit challenged. So yeah, maybe just a handful of buckets or so might be the thing to do for me. Back to you.
KC2 UVP's got a handful of buckets.
Okey-doke. Thanks, Mike. And Kate, another, if you want buckets, you can get buckets for free. Well, I don't know, before the COVID you could. Most bakeries get large, they get like 1, 2.5, and 5-gallon buckets of like pastry fixing stuff, and you can usually get their buckets for free, and all you got to do is wash out the frosting or lick it out if you're if you're into it. So that's one source, and it sounds like Mike is offering buckets, so I'll let you guys exchange back and forth. This is KD2I and Net Control, and back to KD2RYD.
Kate, what I've got is, planters.
Or UVP.
Buckets. They got holes in the bucket. Plants came in them. I've got thousands of them. I had to sort thousands of them, and I've got plenty to disappear. If you just want to make a time and place in Catskill, I'll give you buckets. Buckets of love.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys doubled a little bit there, so I caught, we caught everything Mike said, but did not hear what Kate said. So KD2RYD.
I don't think I had much more to say. I was just saying thank you. That's good to know. Yeah.
All right, very good, very good. And if you want, you can shoot me an email, or I could shoot you an email. And there's lots more information about using soils and microbial metabolites and that sort of stuff. Anyway, we'll roll on down to KC2 JQA.
This is KC2JQA. I'm kind of in a similar situation to Kate, waiting for work to finish on what will be a new house I'm moving into, and right now it's on hold, so I'm not sure when in the growing season, and I do hope it'll be during the growing season, we do get to move in. So right now I'm in rental and not really doing much other than tending to the landscaping around here, which is lovely, but I'm not going to be planting any food crops, but that is something, assuming I can get in there early enough, I would very much look forward to doing, and putting together a notebook with ideas like the rain collection, which I talked about earlier, and learning a lot, listening to everybody on the net all these weeks, and just coming up with some great ideas of things I'd like to do. So my project list is growing, and that's a good thing. And again, thank you, CJ, for running the net. KC2JQA, back to you.
All right, fantastic, Steve, and glad things are coming together for you over there. And it's kind of it seems like a daunting learning curve sometimes, but there's certainly lots of information, and I'm more than happy to share, and I'm glad you came along and brought something to the net. Let's see, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted here. Let's roll on down to KD2RFI, Bob.
KD2RFI, not a whole lot more to add, really. It's, and then the one bee inspection I did a couple days ago when the weather was nice. It's been really quiet around here, so
Thanks,
I
Bobby.
haven't made any progress on my garden, or my future garden. I finally decided this year I'm putting it off to next year. I just haven't had time to get everything done.
Bob's put this off
If
for
I
2
started
years
doing
now.
something, well, by the time I let the chickens out, they would, scratch it all apart. So I definitely got to get a fence or some wire up before I really get serious about it, just to keep them out of it. But other than that, I don't have much more to report. KD2 RF5, back to KD2 IIN, net control.
All right, very good, Bob. And well, as we talked, the longer it cooks, the longer it sits there doing the fungal thing and building soils, the better off it'll be when you do launch it. So, still looking forward to hearing how it goes when you do get around to it. Let's see. Let's roll on down to Jim, K2BHM.
Thanks, CJ, but I'm going to be the ghost again. You mentioned glycerin. Potassium nitrate, glycerin, and a little bit of concentrated nitric acid. Good news, bad news. Good news is you can have a blast. Bad news is if you don't know what you're doing, you can have a blast when you least expect it.
Nope.
Be careful. Oh, God, you brought up some interesting topics.
I'm going to second Jim's caution on that. Be careful. It doesn't mean you should go out and play with this stuff. If you really want to use it in a proper way, I would definitely go do your own research and make sure you have sound science and sound practices in place for any of that sort of stuff. I don't want anybody hurting themselves. I know I've seen that on the survival channel thing, and I never actually went and got those products to try it. So I just use a lighter. It works great, and it's pretty safe. So there's that. Let's roll on down to KD2 MQE, David.
K2MQE, sorry if I started this. I was just trying to get a stump out of the front yard. Maybe I'll just try a hatchet.
Sorry, I've never tried.
Leave the chemicals aside. That's it for me. Let's roll on down.
All right, very good. Yeah, it's okay, David. It was an interesting topic, and I like the diversity in our discussion tonight. We're back to you, Jed, KD2, KJU.
All right, gentlemen and ladies, I don't have much to report. I am getting my growing together. I have a T5 light going on a couple different plants inside. It definitely got. I had this for my some of my old aquariums. I used to be really involved with that, and it's something I've been getting.
Hey, Gemini.
Back involved with now that the whole lockdown has been happening. But I definitely have some stuff growing, and I am real excited for the next growing season. I'm getting a lot of stuff cleared out. I'm definitely getting a lot more work done than I normally would have, which I think is a great thing. I hope everyone else as well has some time to get this done too. KD2KJU back to net, and CJ, thanks for running it.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for filling us in on the report there, Jed. And those T5s are a great way for starting seedlings and stuff. It gives you a nice boost and pretty low consumption on power. Pretty effective. That is the thing. Everybody's got a chance to stay home and get out in the garden and the yard, and that'll all bring us back a little closer to nature. And I think that's a good thing. So. Let's see, we'll roll on down to KC2 UVP, and then we'll go through and do final rounds here for the net for anyone who has any further comments. So KC2 UVP, pick it up.
KC2 UVP, Mike here, Tivoli. Yeah, I at one time in my life, octogenarian, I was surrounded by massive gallons, carboys, 5-gallon carboys of glycerin, and I didn't know anything back then, and I know even less today, but I just didn't play with any of that stuff. He was a farmer, and it really pays to know. It pays to know that you know what you know. And as far as the flower pots, they're just generic pots that come off the shelf, but I've got thousands of them, and that's for Kate. And as far as anybody else, keep your wits about you, because chemistry is a focused science. Radio is just all talk. Back then, thank you.
Very good, Mike. Yeah, nitroglycerin, not something I want, even small amounts around me. No thanks. That's not my area of expertise for sure. I understand all those processes, and I'm sure I can handle them safely, but no desire to take that risk. Yeah, very good. All right, so we're going to roll our final round here. This is KD2 Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. And I'm just going to go back through and give everybody a chance to say good evening and so forth. So we're going to start back at the top of the list at KD2 RYD.
Hi, this is Kate, KD2 RYD. No, thanks everyone. This has been really interesting. It's been a blast. 7-3.
Very good, Kate, and thanks for coming along as always, and always supporting the net. You always bring excellent topics up, so appreciate that. And let's roll on down to KC2JQA.
This is KC2JQA, Steve. Just wanted to say again, thank you, CJ, for running the net, and thank you, everyone, for your participation. I got a lot of great ideas, and wishing everyone a great rest of the evening, and look forward to seeing you all on the radio sometime soon. KC2JQA, back to net.
All right, very good, Steve. Thanks for participating, and thanks as always for bringing good topics to the net as well. I will try and get some rainwater collection information out to you shortly, and also I'll try and get some soil info to Kate as well. KD2 RFI, Bob, you're up.
KD2 RFI. Definitely some interesting topics tonight. I had a guy I knew back in the day. He was EOD overseas in the military, and he had a farm. He would carve out C4 into bars of soap and mail it back to his wife, who would just put it away for him. And one day he was back on the farm after his service ended, and he had the knowledge base, and he was removing stumps with the stuff that he took from overseas. And he said one day he was on the dozer and just finished clearing up a stump removal project he had going when the trooper pulled up and said, I got reports of explosions someplace around here. And he just looked at him, smiled, and said, you know what, I did hear some noise or something, but I was on the dozer, so I wasn't sure what it was. So, that's interesting ways to remove stumps. KD2 RFI, back in the control, wishing everyone a 7-3. Take care, guys. Have a good night.
KD2 and some net control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Thanks again, Bob. And there's lots of stories we could talk about regarding C4 and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's the problem. All right, let's roll on down to Jim, K2BHM. Any final comments?
Thanks, CJ. This time I'll identify myself, K2BHM. Very good friend of mine back, 55 years ago, successfully made nitroglycerin. His dad was a PhD in chemistry, so we had kind of an inside track. But it's not an easy thing to do. It's not something that you could do by accident. It's a very controlled process you have to go through, as is most of this stuff. It's not something that you're going to really do from a cookbook. But anyway,
Not safely, at least.
it's there, it exists, and whoa. But anyhow, I just had to throw some things out there for consideration and let you know what's going on. K2BHM.
All right, very good. Well, thanks for your insight as always, Jim. I know you've got a lot of engineering and other experience in life. It's always good to hear your stories and your thoughts on it. We'll roll on down to Neil, W2NDG, if you want to say final goodbye or whatever. Give you an opportunity for it. I don't know if he's still out there or not. All right, we'll consider Neil signed out, and we'll go down to KD2MQE, David.
MQE, thanks. Thanks everybody. Great to hear you all. And I'll just second Kate. It's been a blast tonight. Thanks. Back to you.
Thanks, David. Greatly appreciated, and thanks for joining and participating. And we'll roll back down to KD2 KJU, Jed.
KGU. I don't have much to add, but I'm certainly happy to hear everyone on the radio, and I'm very happy you're running this net, CJ. It's just a really nice thing to hear. Even for those who don't participate, it's just a nice thing to hear. But yeah, I'll send it back to you, KD2 KGU.
All right, very good, Jed, and glad you're here with us, whether you're just listening or participating. Glad to have the support, and thanks for coming along. And last check-in is KC2 UVP. Any final comments for the net?
I'd like to comment on everybody else that's working hard to keep the conversation going, and I hope I can keep up my stride. Case 2 UVP 7373. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you as well, Mike, and that concludes it for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. This is KD2 N.
One more comment.
Go ahead, comment.
K2BHM, getting back to a previous topic, wouldn't you like to be the fly on the wall when somebody decided they could take a little DC motor and run a pump and put it inside the gas tank of a vehicle and let the gasoline squelch the sparks off the commutator, and it's not going to explode?
Comment.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to be a fly on the wall, because I don't think that would be the place to be before having tested that. And yes, that is a wild, crazy thing. And Mike, go ahead, and then I'm going to wrap this up.
I was wondering the same thing most of my life, too. Thank you. KG2, UVP, thank you. I can't, I'm busting a gut here. Thank you.
All right, very good, gentlemen. All right, this is KD2 Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net, and the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net is sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, located in Ulster County, New York. They sponsor our repeater here on 146.805 megahertz with a PL tone of 103.5 and a negative shift of 600 kilohertz. You can find out more about our club by visiting our website at www.omarcclub.org. That's whiskey, Mike, Alpha, Romeo, Charlie, Lima, Uniform, Bravo, Oscar, Romeo, Golf. Thank you to everyone who participated. Let's see, a couple of quick announcements. On Thursday nights at 8 p.m. we have the Thursday Night Net. That's run by Dave, K2JLV. A whole wide range of awesome topics there. I definitely highly encourage you to check that out. And then 8:35 in the morning we have an informal wellness net regarding the COVID thing and sort of just a general check-in for local amateurs. I highly recommend you check that out as well. That's run by Paul, AC2UQ. And then at 6:30 p.m. every night, we have the OMARC Wellness Net here on the OMARC 805, and that's a little bit more of a formal type net, but also a community-oriented net. So I encourage you to check those out as well. Thanks to everyone who participated. This is KD2IN saying 7-3 and inviting you to join us next week. The net is officially closed. This repeater is back under regular amateur use. KD2IIN is clear. Mouthful.
K2BHM
Thanks,
with a
Bomber.
clarification. For anybody listening, the explosion of gasoline is dependent on a 14-to-1 ratio of gas to air
Mixture. Yep.
per weight, which you can never really attain inside the confines of the gas tank. So you're safe.
Thank you,
Don't
Michelle.
worry about your car blowing up.
Appreciate you watching.
KC2UP acknowledging that fact, but
I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. So thank you everyone who joined in. I really appreciate it. I will try and do another live stream during this week. Maybe it's supposed to be rainy, so we can do like a two-way discussion if people want to chat, and we can hash out anything else you want to talk about. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'm going to go over to the Paranormal Portal now and check out Brent's podcast at the Paranormal Portal. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. Very, very cool stuff. Excellent community of people there. So please go see that as well. Thanks for watching the Pharmacy Seats Network, and we'll see you guys soon.